All right, so this evening, last week, we looked at the introduction to the way of the Bodhisattva, Shantideva's Bodhicharya Vatara. And we studied a little bit about who this person, this author, Shantideva, is or was. Was he a real person or is it mythology? There's certainly aspects, it appears, of both, that maybe he was a real person, but there's this mythological element where he is divinely inspired to give this, what becomes known as the Bodhicharya Vatara, the way of the Bodhisattva. He gets inspired to offer it, and as he's offering it, the story goes that he gets higher and higher. He's levitating up and then disappears by the final chapter. So it's just this mythological element that's strewn in here about the text itself. So this evening, what I'd like to do is go into the first chapter of the text. And we are not going to read it paragraph by paragraph, nor are we going to look at the commentary. The commentary is really quite excellent by Pema Chodron. We might look at a little tidbits here and there of that commentary, but we'll read the verses, and you're welcome to reflect on them in the moment and to ask questions about them as we go. What I'd like to do this evening, though, is start out with about maybe about 10 minutes of silence, and then we'll read some of these verses together, and then we'll spend maybe the last 15 minutes of the class, maybe 5 to 10 minutes in silent, kind of reflecting on what we had just read, and then opening up for answer or discussion. Okay, so that's kind of the schemata for this evening. So I'll ring the bell to start. And as we get started here, first of all, to bring a sense of gratitude to your practice. And I want to bring my gratitude here. It really is wonderful to come here to Quaker meeting and to have Heather have set up the altar. It just makes a world of difference. I brought the big bell this evening, so we'll use that. And it's wonderful to see you guys, to see you all online here. Thank you for being with us, Kathy, Vicky, and Navab, and maybe some other folks will join us as we go here. But let's see. There we go. All right. And maybe take a moment yourselves to consider what you are grateful for at, just at this moment. Just at this moment. It could be something so simple. Right? As my teacher would say, for the tea bag in my teacup, gratitude. Right? Just the fact that we have these, just doesn't have to be a new car. Right? Maybe it's just the fact that we have two legs, or as Dogen would say, my eyes are horizontal and my nose is vertical. We can have gratitude for something as simple as that. Yeah. Right? All right. Ready or not, here we go. I'm going to ring the bell 3 times to begin. if you have a copy of the Bodhicharya Vatara, now's a good time to bring it out. And the copy I'll be referring to is this one, No Time to Lose. If you don't have that, I'm pretty sure we can find a copy online. Let's see.
I tried to order it, but they're out, both Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So
Yeah, let's see if does anybody else have need a copy? Can't hear you, Navab. Sorry. You're muted.
Somebody put something in the chat last week that had a link. I don't know if I've still got that or not.
I have this one. It's just the Bodhisattva, but it's not the same as when she's reading it. I just so.
Yeah, you can find one online here. Was it a PDF or something?
Is that you talking to Vicky or? Was
Here it is. Yeah, PDF. Here it is. Let's see, The Way of the Bodhisattva. Okay, 107. Yeah, here it is. I'll just send you guys this link, and you can refer to it as you wish. But the translation that I'm using is going to be different from what I put in the chat. But that's okay. You can still, it's okay to have more than one translation. There it is. It's in the chat to everybody. So feel free to click on that if you want to. We will proceed. Okay. So as I mentioned, what we will do is read the verses. We probably will not make it to the end. I'd like to go through one chapter a week, and we won't go through the whole entirety of the chapter. That is up to you to study on your own. And you could do this prior to the class if you have time or interest. You can study it before the class begins or after. So we're going to look at the first chapter, and Pema Chodron titles it Developing a Clear Intention, the Excellence of Bodhicitta. So in short, the short summary of this chapter is that it's about the preciousness of what we call bodhicitta, or in Japanese we call it Hutsu Bodaishin. Now this is coming from a Tibetan approach to Buddhism, and I will mention it's slightly different from the Zen approach. But we shouldn't let that discourage us from studying it, because it's a very methodical way of practicing that I think we could benefit from. Because Zen tends to be all or nothing. The Tibetan Buddhist texts tend to be more gradual and methodical. You're going from point A to point B, whereas Zen is like you're already at point B even before So there's this directness, but I think we shouldn't let that discourage us from studying the Bodhicharya Vatara and putting it into practice. So let's begin with 1.1. So we'll each take one verse and just read it, and if there needs to be explanation to it, I'll pause and offer some, or you guys can also jump in and share your understanding as well. 1.1. To those who go in bliss, the Dharma they have mastered, and to all their heirs, to all who merit veneration, I bow down. According to tradition, I shall now, in brief, describe the entrance to the Bodhisattva discipline. So this is basically taking refuge in the Buddha, or the Buddhas, plural, when it mentions to those who go in bliss, right? Those are the Buddhas. The Dharma they have mastered, right? The teachings, and to all their heirs, the Sangha, that's you and I, right? Okay. Heather, you want to take 1.2?
All right. What I have to say has all been said before, and I am destitute of learning and of skill with words. I therefore have no thought that this might be of benefit to others. I wrote it only to sustain my understanding.
So, great humility is being expressed there in that second verse. And I just want to point out here that Pema Chodron has a really nice commentary here. If you have this particular version of it, the second paragraph down from 1.2 reads, humility should not be confused with low self-esteem. This is super important, right? He says, I am destitute of learning and of skill with words. Well, clearly, if you read this, he's not destitute of learning and of skill with words. But this is a way of sharing humility. So, Vicky, we're on page 3 of this version. We're on verse 1.2 of any version. Okay. So again, be careful, this distinction between real humility versus low self-esteem. This is not low self-esteem. And she says, when Shanti Deva says he is destitute of learning and of skill with words, he is not expressing self-contempt. Very important point. The low self-esteem so common in the West rests on a fixed idea of personal inadequacy. Shanti Deva is committed to not getting trapped in such limiting identities. He is simply humble enough to know where he gets stuck and intelligent enough to realize he has the tools to free himself. Okay, and that's just like you and me. All right, now this might be a little different version here, verse 1.3. Navab, were you able to pull that verse up? No? Okay, Vicky, how about you?
Even the page 3 doesn't.
Yeah, there's no numbers on
There's
what,
no-
what you
yeah.
gave us.
Yeah.
How about you, Kathy? Were you able to find it?
Well, I pulled up the PDF and what I see is my faith will thus be strengthened for a little while, that I might grow accustomed to this virtuous way. But others who now chance upon my words, my profit also equal to myself in fortune.
Okay, yeah, there it is. That's the exact one we got here. All right. Okay, I'll read the next verse.
Okay, wait a minute,
1.4.
Kathy, what page are you reading on? Because I don't see any of that at all.
I pulled up the PDF Daishin shared in the chat.
So do I, and I don't
So
see,
did
there's
I.
no 1.3.
Oh, you have to scroll way far down because there's so much preface and so much
Okay,
pre-discussion that you just
okay,
keep scrolling.
Heather just mentioned it's page 30.
On the
thank you.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, 30. Yeah, now I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see.
I
a
see it now. It's
Okay.
30.
You want to read
Vicky.
1.4, Navab?
Sure, 1.4. Oh, yeah. So hard to find the ease and wealth whereby the aims of beings may be gained. If now I fail to turn it to my profit, how could such a chance be mine again?
All right, so this is starting to look at the preciousness of a human birth. In that verse, in that translation, it talks something about being, I think. In this one, it mentions render meaningful this human birth. In other words, it's hard to be born a human being. And this is recognizing the gift of simply being born human. Something we tend to forget, to take for granted. This is to remind us, wait a minute, hey, we're human beings. This is a precious opportunity to study the Dharma, to practice the Dharma. Okay. Vicky, you want to do 1.5?
Sorry, I had to unmute and go back to the thing there. So yeah, hold on just a second and I will read it. All righty, 1.5. Just as on a dark night black with clouds, the sudden lightning glares and all is clearly shown. Likewise, rarely, through the Buddha's power, virtuous thoughts rise, brief and transient in the world.
Right. This image of a flash of lightning is really common in Buddhist parlance, and Dogen mentions that in Fukan, in the Universal Instructions for Zazen. But it's also comparing like how difficult it is, right? It's really looking, it's such a compassionate verse because it's looking at how difficult it is to give rise to thoughts of benevolence, thoughts of virtue towards others. That's a really hard thing to do because we are so self-occupied or preoccupied. Okay, I'll go to the next verse then, 1.6. Thus, behold the utter frailty of goodness. Except for perfect bodhicitta, remember what bodhicitta is? This desire to raise what's called the Bodhi Mind. Except for perfect bodhicitta, there is nothing able to withstand the great and overwhelming strength of evil. So evil is in the world. Bodhicitta is the only thing that can overcome it. This raising of the Bodhi Mind, what is the raising of the Bodhi Mind? The desire to attain enlightenment, the desire to be as compassionate and wise as a Buddha. Now, I was looking through Dogen's Shobo Genzo Zuimonki, and he has several sections actually dedicated to the importance of raising the Bodhi Mind. He says, he's answering a question about realization, and he says, it depends only on whether one's aspiration, that is the bodhicitta, is firmly determined or not. So most of Dogen's writing is not straightforward. It's poetic, it's circular. This is one of the more direct teachings that he has. It's very basic, and it's for the everyday person like you and me. He says, it depends only on whether one's aspiration is firmly determined or not. A person who arouses true aspiration, that is bodhicitta, and studies as hard as his capacity allows will not fail to attain the way. Right? We have to be careful to concentrate on and directly carry out the following practice. First of all, just maintain the aspiration to earnestly seek the way. And then he gives this wonderful example. He says, a person who desires to steal a precious treasure or to beat a powerful enemy or win over a beautiful woman of high nobility will constantly seek an opportunity to accomplish these tasks in any situation or occasion, though various things are changing, since his mind is always occupied with this desire. If his desire is that enthusiastic, he will not fail to fulfill it. In the same way, if the aspiration to seek the way is earnest enough, though the aim is high, you will hit the mark, right? So we all have desire in us, and usually it's aimed at something lower than complete perfect enlightenment. Let's be perfectly honest there.
Just a little.
Our desires are usually kind of base desires. So, and the five desires are sex, sleep, food, fame, and fortune. That's what we basically desire, those 5 things. And there's nothing wrong with any of them in moderation. But there's a sixth desire, and that is the desire to attain complete perfect enlightenment. Right? So if we can take that desire that we have for the more base desires and direct it towards bodhicitta, arousing the Bodhi mind, then that's the foundation that needs to be laid. This is laying the foundation for practice. And it has to do with developing a clear intention. That's the first part, right? Okay, let's see, 1.7, Heather's on it.
All right. For many eons, deeply pondering, the mighty sages saw its benefits, whereby unnumbered multitudes are brought with ease to supreme joy.
Okay. All right, 1.8. 1.8. Now, Bob, you want to read that one?
Oops, I keep, I'll read it from my translation because all of a sudden I can't find the other page. Those who wish to destroy their own suffering, those who wish to dispel the suffering of others, and those who wish to experience much happiness should never forsake the practice of bodhicitta.
Wonderful.
Sorry,
Wow.
a different translation, but
Excellent, excellent. In praise of bodhicitta. Very good. Yeah, okay, 1.9, Vicky?
Should bodhicitta come to birth in those who suffer, chained in prisons of samsara, in that instant they are called the children of the blissful one, revered by all the world, by gods and humankind.
All right. All right, how about 1.10? Kathy?
Right?
Let's see.
Or like the supreme substance of the alchemists, it takes our impure flesh and makes of it the body of a Buddha, jewel beyond all price. Such is bodhicitta. Let us grasp it firmly.
Great, okay, 1.11. GKL, welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. Did you get the link down there in the chat?
No, I did not.
Let me send it
Oh,
to
it
you
came
again.
too late.
Here it is. We're reading from that. It starts on page 30, and we're on verse 1.11 now.
Oh, I love this book. You said page 30?
Page 31.
31.
Sorry. And number what?
1.11.
Since the boundless wisdom of the only guide of beings, perfectly examined and perceived in its priceless worth, those who wish to leave this state of wandering should hold well to this precious bodhicitta.
All right. And 1.12. I'll do that one here. All other virtues, like the plantain tree, produce their fruit, but then their force is spent. Alone, the marvelous tree of bodhicitta will bear its fruit and grow unceasingly. All right, so this is kind of, bodhicitta is referring to something that has a unending source if we can tap into it. All right. Alex, thanks for coming here. You want to read?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I just totally scrolled down.
Alex just joined us here. Thanks for being here.
How fast does grow?
We put a little water on it.
From
We gave it some sun and water.
Number 13. I love this verse. It reminds me of the Gateway chapter. The Lotus Sutra, I'm sorry. Number 13.
As though they pass through perilous, guided by a hero even those weighed down with dreadful weakness, will ceasingly be freed through the heaven Bodhisattva. Why do those who fear their seed not have recognized to it?
Okay. Yeah.
Continue.
No, we're just doing one verse at a time. Okay, Heather, you want to do the next one? 1.14.
Just as by the fire that will destroy the world, great sins are surely and at once consumed by it. Its benefits are thus unbounded, as the wise and loving Lord explained to Suddhana.
All right, so bodhicitta, people wonder, like, what do we do about our sins? Well, if you connect with bodhicitta, they're consumed by it. How about that?
I kind of, okay, go first.
Go ahead.
I kind of more pay attention to what he said. People who made the sin don't recognize it. I think this is very important. So I kind of think it's. I believe as people recognize their sins will be completely different. So why people don't recognize their sins?
Yeah, I don't know. But this is saying for those who want to attain Buddhahood, then bodhicitta is a way to, first of all, it's precious. It's precious to experience bodhicitta. And for those who practice with bodhicitta or connect with it, your sins will be absolved. Yeah.
That's sort of where the Pure Land gets its idea of, if I just chant,
Right.
I'm transported to the Pure Land.
Yeah.
I mean,
Think about it. The desire to attain enlightenment, if you have the desire to attain the enlightenment, like sincerely, then all of those past sins will get burned up. You're not going to get mired down by your wrongdoings, feelings of guilt and shame that often accompany our past transgressions. That stuff gets burned away if you really have a sincere aspiration to attain enlightenment. But that's what this whole chapter is about. All right. Navad, you want to do the next one?
Okay. It's from my translation here.
Yes,
in
we
brief-
know that.
Oh, okay. Just want to. In brief, you should know that bodhicitta has two types: the mind that observes enlightenment and aspires, and the mind that observes enlightenment and engages.
All right, so there's two aspects to bodhicitta. One is the aspiration, right? So there's the aspiration towards enlightenment. The second one is the actual practice, the doing of it, right? So that's an important distinction to make. Having the aspiration is the first step, and then actually carrying it out by doing things for others, that's the practice. Well, both are the practice. The intention, developing the intention is first, though. Got to have that intention. All right, Vicky, you want to do the next verse?
Sure.
16.
As corresponding to the wish to go and then setting out. I'm sorry, I screwed that up. As corresponding to the wish to go and then to setting out, the wise should understand respectively the difference that divides these two.
All right, so there again, he's kind of going into a little bit more of know the difference. Know the difference between these two forms of bodhicitta, the intention versus the practical application. All right, so let's see what else. Now he's going to go into a little bit of depth as to what comprises the difference here between the intention versus the practice. Okay, Kathy.
From bodhicitta and intention, Great results arise for those still turning in the wheel of life. Yet merit does not rise from it in ceaseless streams, as is the case with active bodhicitta.
All right, so I'm just going to repeat that with the verse that I have. Bodhicitta in intention bears rich fruit. So the first kind of bodhicitta, the first aspect, is it bears rich fruit for those still wandering in samsara, so the world of suffering. If we're, all of us, I don't know, if you're not in the world of suffering, maybe you shouldn't be here, but if you're in the world of suffering, bodhicitta bears rich fruit. And yet, here's the difference. A ceaseless stream of merit does not flow from the intention to arouse bodhicitta. A seamless stream of merit. Merit is this, the merit is the energy that is generated when we are actively practicing bodhicitta, because that's the difference. For this will arise alone from active bodhicitta. So a ceaseless and unending stream of merit arises from the practice of bodhicitta. The intention is also very good, but the difference is that there's not this unending stream of bodhicitta with the intention alone. You got to activate it. All right? Okay, and he says some more here. Jikyo.
For when, with irreversible intent, the mind embraces bodhicitta, willing to set free the endless multitudes of beings, in that instance, from that moment on,
And go ahead, read the next verse because it's connected.
a great and unremitting stream, a strength of wholesome merit, even during sleep and in intention, rises equal to the vastness of the sky.
So this is really promoting the connecting to this bodhicitta in intention as well as in active practice. All right. This, the Tathagata, in the sutra, Sabahu requested, said with reasoned demonstration, teaching those inclined to lesser paths. Okay, so this is a reference to another sutra. You know, we don't have to get into that too much. It may not make a lot of sense right now without looking at more commentary. But again, if you have this book, she's got commentary on this. So let's skip on to the next one. If with kindly generosity one merely has the wish to soothe the aching heads of other beings, such merit knows no bounds. So that's that. Okay, what is bodhicitta? It gave a nice description of it right there. It has to do with generosity, right? The desire or the wish to soothe the aching heads of other beings. That's it, right there. If you go to a hospital, you see bodhicitta. Are they Buddhist in the hospital? Most of them aren't. But that's bodhicitta. Those are those nurses running around trying to help people out. Okay. Alex, you want to do 1.22? Thank you.
No needs to speak then of the wish to drive away the endless pain of each and every living being, bringing them unbounded excellence.
All right. And, okay, so I'll just share the commentary here by Pema Chodron. She writes, when our wish becomes immeasurable, it could create a dilemma. Would-be bodhisattvas who take the teachings too literally might say, there's no way to eliminate the headaches of all beings. Wouldn't you say that? What are we going to do? Send everyone in the world an aspirin? All right. On the other hand, there is the response of Bernard Glassman Roshi. That's a Zen teacher who passed away several years ago now, who worked with the homeless in Yonkers, New York. He said that he knew there was no way to end homelessness, yet he would devote his life to trying. This is the aspiration of a Bodhisattva. Don't worry about results. Just open your heart in an inconceivably big way, in that limitless way that benefits everyone you encounter. Don't worry whether or not it's doable. That's the important piece here. Don't worry whether or not it's doable. Okay. Heather, you want to read the next one? 1.23.
Could our father or our mother ever have so generous a wish? Do the very gods, the rishis, even Brahma, harbor such benevolence as this?
All right. So there's more here. And I would just, we're not going to get into all of it this evening. There's another several verses before we get to the end of this chapter. But I would encourage you all to continue reading this chapter on your own. You got the link. Like I mentioned, there's this book here, and you got the commentary if you need it by Pema Chodron. And continue to read on your own, continue to study. Let's take some time here now. We have about 10 minutes. Let's sit in silence for maybe 5 of those minutes and see what comes up for us and around this idea of bodhicitta, if anything. And if you want to share that maybe in another 5 minutes, we can do that. All right. So I'm going to ring the bell to start and to end. as we close here, we're just about 6 minutes, and maybe just keeping in mind the time, if you want to share any insights that you got from this particular reading. Again, keeping in mind the time, and there's 4, 5, 6 of us here. All right, so I'll just go around the space here. Navad, you want to start us out?
I had an experience this afternoon as I was volunteering for the Odyssey of the Mind, and I was getting irritated, and I asked for the refuge, the 3 refuges, because we had to clean, and I kind of wanted to leave because I was getting tired. But I realized when I was asking for refuges and I said, "Why am I here? I'm here to serve." I felt comforted, and I felt less concerned about myself at that point.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So you were experiencing that bodhicitta without maybe naming it even. Yeah. How about Vicky?
Sorry. I don't know. Bodhicitta to me kind of comes and goes. I mean, there's times I think, it becomes a should or a supposed to. There are times that I think it does become a desire. And there are times that I think sometimes it feels almost like a burden. So that's just kind of what came up for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Kathy.
Sometimes I think a lot about what Vicky said. I feel that way too. I think a lot of times it's easier for me to have the intention piece of the bodhicitta. I mean, the tension and action goes hand in hand, but I certainly think that having the intention, at least for me, may be easier than the actual action piece.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Difference between intent. Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. Thank you. How about GQ?
Yeah, I don't have any wisdom. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, GQ. All right. And let's see. Heather, you want to?
I guess I was really I enjoyed the comment about um, it's the intention that it's impossible to save all homeless people, but it's the intention to try and to interact with everybody in that mindset of I'm just gonna help, and keeping that mindset sometimes can be challenging, but the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So they talk a lot. I know I had to take a lot of DEI classes for work. They talk about intention versus impact, and and how even if your intentions are good, it might impact poorly. I think that also can be true.
Mm-hmm.
So I think opening yourself to that having a wider mindset, it makes your intention and your impact more aligned. If that makes sense. At least that's been my experience.
Opening that.
It's open up your intention, like opening up your mind to a broader. I don't really care. Like it's not a selfish thing.
Yeah.
When you turn that, I just want to help. I want to be helpful. Okay, that's selfish. But when you're like, I want to be helpful.
Right.
There's a difference between that
quality.
selfish helpfulness to feed some, ego or, I want to look like a good person,
Yeah.
then the impact will be the right way.
Yeah.
Your intention will go The more I work with it, the better I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Right.
I'm just saying that it's really helpful to hear other people.
What you mean to help without getting any benefits, like to make the pure help?
Without it, you can't. And it was in there too. Like you can't have some focus on I'm helping to achieve this goal. So I can't control that.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
There's not. But if you see the whole thing, then you might be open to a different solution
Mhm.
or a
Yeah.
different.
We're-
If that makes sense.
Yes.
I
it does.
appreciated the commentary that she had.
Yeah, yeah, it was, I thought it was helpful too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex, last but not least, we just have less than a minute here. Nothing.
I'm just more confused than.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
fair enough, fair enough.
No, not you. Generally, it's my mind confused because it's again. I still struggle with like a good attention will go to the health. So that's what I
Uh-huh.
see all my life. So that's mean I love to see the Bodhicitta in real life, but I still kind of struggle to see it.
Sure, yeah. All right, thank you. All right, let's close it out this evening, folks. Thank you all for participating and sharing the reading with us. All right, and keep studying. All right. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you online. I really appreciate
Thank you, Danasheen. Thank you.
Yeah, this is great. It's so helpful. I'm glad we can all meet like this. It's a boost of Buddhist vitamins. All right, take care. B vitamins, right?